Do you ever find yourself wanting more or struggling with what you do have? Hi, I'm Alex, and I would like to help us as we wrestle with discontentment. A few years ago, my wife asked me about a lack of time she noticed that I was spending with other men. She wondered why I hadn't taken time to reach out to some of my friends and spend time with them, or why I had been telling others that I was too busy when they would ask me to hang out. After having a conversation with her about it, I started to realize that I was complacent in my friendships. I felt like I had enough people to talk to, but I wasn't actually pursuing a real, authentic friendship. And I was satisfied with everything being so surface level. Was I content in my satisfaction, or was I being complacent? Let me say from my own experience that when there is a lack of desire and you start to treat life as if it's just the way it is, and you don't do anything to improve or change it, that isn't contentment. That's complacency. The Bible teaches us what true contentment actually looks like. Philippians chapter 4, verses 10 to 13 say, "I rejoiced in the Lord greatly, that now at length you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through Him who strengthens me." Paul has been traveling the world sharing the gospel. He's been put in prison, and at this point, as he's writing to this specific church, he speaks to them about his source of contentment. While he's been through suffering, he's also been through seasons of great joy, and he tells us that his contentment is not based on being satisfied with his possessions, relationships, or what he has or doesn't have. His contentment isn't even about being complacent with his circumstances, but his contentment is found in God Himself. He lives his life being content by trusting God in whatever situation he is walking through, because God strengthens him. God is at work in his life because he has been obedient to the Lord and serving people through his ministry. So as I considered my complacency in my relationships with others, I started to see that I wasn't actually finding joy in trusting God's provision to bring other men alongside me. I believed that I could do life on my own, and that working hard for friendships was going to be too much, and I was fine with where I was at. But Scripture calls us to trust the Lord in our circumstances. So I received the correction to see that it's not good to live life outside the biblical community, and that God has desired for me to have a godly relationship with other men. This would take work, but would ultimately bring me joy through the work that God did in those relationships. If you're struggling with contentment, evaluate for yourself why you desire more. What is it about a relationship, money, possessions, status, that you will believe will ultimately satisfy you? Ultimately, those things will not fill you up. Only God can satisfy our hearts. Trust in the Lord to be your fulfillment and satisfaction, just as Paul did in his circumstances. Pray to God and confess to Him your desire to be filled up and satisfied with the things of this world. Then ask Him to help you be content and joyful with what He's given you. Ask that He would strengthen you and help you be continually satisfied with all He has provided and how He's at work in you. Now find true contentment in the Lord and win today.